Hey guys, TB Lifestyle here. We're gonna be making a video on how to buy a car.
Alright guys, but on a real note, we got Brandon's car here. We're going to be doing a video on what to look for when buying a car. Basically, we got a little checklist. We're going to be going through sections on it, so we're going to start with the engine, basically just work our way back, and then we'll go from there.
Hey guys, so we're gonna show you what to look for in a car. So even before you even go to look at the car, contact the seller and tell them not to start the vehicle first. Like get a cold start so you can kind of see what the car does and how it reacts to the cold weather and stuff like that. So today we're using my Skyline. This is an example. It's a JDM right-hand drive car, but it's the same concept as every other car. So first we're gonna try with a cold start and see if there's any squeals or noises, blue smoke. So I don't know if you can hear me, but you can't really hear any squeaks or knocking or ticking or power steering whines or anything. You always want to look at the exhaust too, like if it's blowing blue or it's spitting black, like it's rich. So just look at those things when you first get there.
So yeah, this car actually sounds really good. But it's been sitting here for say like 2 months already. So you know, it hasn't ran in a while, but it still does sound good. So that's definitely a good indication that it has been taken care of and that there are no serious problems. So yeah, basically we just want to kind of do an overview of the engine. Just inspect for any kind of oil leaks or any other leaks.
Yeah. Sometimes the valve covers can be dripping. Like you can just look for obvious signs of like wet oil and like say coolant dripping, or look underneath the car too for obvious drips and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then the other big thing is checking fluid conditions of a vehicle. Make sure you check the oil. Yeah.
So you want to check it a couple of times. Obviously it just ran, so it's high, but it's nice and gold. Like it looks like it's been freshly changed. If it's black or low, like this is obviously unlevel ground because it's on jack stands for demonstration purposes, but you can kind of tell if it's low or black or dirty and stuff, how it's been taken care of. If it smells burnt, then it's not a good indication.
Yeah, and then coolant, obviously check the coolant. And then power steering fluid is a big one. And then, you know, if it's a automatic transmission, check the transmission fluid as well, right? Yeah. You don't want it to be burnt. You don't want it to smell.
Yeah. You can check brake fluid too. Like if it's super low and it's not maintained, usually if it's very low too, it's a good indication that brake pads need to be replaced because the pistons are so pushed out. So that's another like key thing to look for. Just simple underneath the hood.
Yeah, it's just the small things, right, that you want to kind of catch and just be aware of when you're looking at a vehicle. Another thing on older vehicles is rust around the strut towers. Obviously here it looks pretty good, but yeah.
That's kind of it for underneath the hood. It's pretty obvious leaks. Like check your belts. Like as long as they're not ripped or like super loose or squealing or anything like that, you're pretty good shape. But it's just kind of obvious things like leaks, like whines, smells. Like if it smells burnt, like go further into looking at it and stuff like that if you're really interested.
Hey guys, so we moved into the interior of the vehicle now. I just kind of want to give you a little overview of what exactly to look for when you're kind of going over the inside. One of the biggest things is you definitely want to check the alternator output. So your voltmeter up here in the top left corner, that should be sitting around 14.2 to 14.4 volts. And then another one is your coolant temperature. Obviously it might be low just because you just started it, right? But just while it's running, just watch it and make sure that it's not overheating and that it's actually getting up to operating temperature. Then you also have your oil pressure right there. Obviously if it's at 0, that's a good indication that something is wrong, whether it be the cluster itself is wrong or maybe the oil pump, something along those lines. Moving on, we kind of want to get into the HVAC system here. Just confirm that the heat, the AC, all that good stuff is working. Obviously you don't want to buy a vehicle where the heat doesn't work, right? So sorry, turbo timer. And then
make sure your power windows are working. I mean, if they're crank, it's not as big of a deal, but like power locks and power windows, and make sure your doors and stuff close, not that bad. And like the bushings and pins are all like in line. They're not clunking and stuff like that, catching. But that's kind of it for interior. Like interior lights and stuff, it's not a huge deal, but power windows and stuff is a huge thing.
Yeah, so moving on from the interior, we'll do a walk around of the exterior, and when you're doing your walk around, check for obvious scratches, dents, things like that. Another big thing is to check for body line alignment. You know, lots of vehicles that get into accidents, their body lines will be messed up. So just check to make sure that everything is lining up properly. That way you are aware of, you know, the history of the vehicle if the owner has not disclosed anything, right? And then another big thing is rust underneath wheel wells. Same goes for the front. Just check for rust. You can feel if it's, you know, if you feel like you can put your finger through it, then that's not good.
Yeah, if it's falling apart in your fingers, it's not just dirt, it'll be rust, then that's a big problem. I mean, it depends what you're buying the vehicle for, like just a commuter, whatever. I mean, it's all up to you, but just check like conditions where water can get trapped in dirt and stuff like that. Like even seen it like up here, like water gets trapped between the window seal and it just rusts the roof away. So you can you don't have to go with a magnifying glass, but just check over. Like Tyler was saying, like a car could have frame damage if the body panels don't line up too. Like it could be an accident the guy's not even telling you. Another thing up here too is sometimes these front rad supports too, if it's been an accident, you can see like crumple zones and stuff. Obviously this car hasn't been, but that's a really good thing to check. Like placement of the rad, like how it lines up and stuff like that. Like that's a good indication.
Yeah, basically anything that you guys can find that is wrong with it will be in your benefit at the end of the day, right? You're trying to get the best deal, and you know you don't want to buy a vehicle that has been in an accident. So really, it's in your best interest to kind of look over it the best you can at this time, right? I guess we'll kind of move to the underside of the vehicle now. I gotta grab the creeper, and then yeah, we'll kind of go on the underside and see what we can find.
Hey guys, now Tyler's going to show you underneath the car what to look for, frame rails, rust, corrosion, all that stuff. So follow along with him.
All right guys, got the trusty Matco light here. So yeah, basically when you're inspecting the vehicle, you definitely want to take a look underneath of it, right? Even if it's just a quick crawl underneath, it definitely tells a lot about the vehicle, and you definitely don't want to miss something, right? So first thing, pinch welds. Obviously, it's not a huge mechanical factor, but it definitely does matter to some people. So, and another one is frame rails. Definitely check these. Make sure that there are no rust on there or anything like that. And then we want to move towards underneath the engine. And then definitely check for struts, for leaking, sweating, anything like that, right? It gives you good indication on if they're blowing. Check ball joint boots and stuff like that. Clearly this tie rod end boot is torn, so that needs to be replaced. And as you can see here, there actually is a power steering leak. So just things like that is what you want to catch, right? You know, this is going to be possibly your vehicle, right? So you want it to be the best condition that it can be. So just give it a good look underneath. Here's a good spot that you can be able to see the belt as well. Any leaks up front. Timing covers are pretty common, things like that. And then we'll move to the back. Check exhaust. I don't know. I've seen some pretty haggard stuff where, you know, exhaust is cut off or it's missing, like this, Brandon. Not taking care of your car. But yeah, other than that, that pretty much concludes underneath, right? Like there's not much to it, but you just want to take a good look at it and make sure that you're not going to be missing anything. And then another thing also is lots of the time, actually let me grab this light here. Lots of the time in older vehicles, in the trunk area where the spare tire sits, they will actually start to rust there as well. So that's definitely something to look out for. And then The battery is definitely something you want to look for. Just check the connections, make sure that there's no corrosion, and make sure it's got a good solid connection there, else that would definitely give you some problems. But yeah.
That's pretty much all I can think of as well. Maybe some diff leaks. Like if there's obvious stuff dripping from the bottom of the vehicle, like where it's coming from. Like sometimes the tranny, like the output shaft seal can leak or something like that. But if the differential's leaking, then could be a gasket or something like that. Just look at that stuff. Like ask the customer or the guy selling the vehicle if he knows anything about it, if you find a problem, and kind of how they act and stuff like that. Like if a guy's being super shady and doesn't have much information on the vehicle or is saying everything's perfect and stuff, like you kind of got to judge the character. Like everybody's different and stuff, but they're trying to make the best dollar they can. You want to get the best vehicle you can as well. So you want to buy a good solid vehicle, right? Like Tyler was saying, you're looking at this vehicle, this could be yours. Like you don't want to throw a bunch of money at it. Like you want to buy a good solid vehicle, reliable, and exactly what you're looking for, right? So
yeah. All right. So yeah, guys, basically from my experience, what you want to do is every little thing that you find wrong with the vehicle, use it against the seller, basically, right? Bring them down on the price, right? You know, explain to them it has this wrong. You know, I can't pay full price. Bargain with them. The lower that you can get it, the better it is for you, right? So that's definitely one thing that I've learned is just to use it to your advantage. Even if it's not exactly what you thought it would be, because there's, you know, a couple things wrong, oil leak, maybe the brakes are low, something like that. You can use that against it and actually get the car lower. So, you know, in that aspect, sometimes it actually helps. And then obviously, after you're done your inspection with the vehicle, make sure you test drive it and, you know, make sure that the steering feels good, the shocks feel okay, the tires are good, everything like that, right? So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of a shitty video just because we're stuck in a garage and we live in Canada, so the weather's not the greatest right now, but we kind of thought we'd just throw something together for you guys for now. That way, you know, obviously there's tons of people out there buying vehicles and that are unsure of what to look for. So hopefully this helps you guys. You know, there'll definitely be more videos like this and other how-tos and whatnot. But if you liked it, make sure you guys subscribe, give it a like, and yeah, we'll see you next time.